What did a teacher do that made you automatically gain respect for them? I had a professor that made it crystal clear that if we ever made an appointment and didn't show up, he'd take 5 points off of our final grade. I tried to find him during office hours and he wasn't available. I told him that I deserved an extra 5 points because he wasn't available when he said he would be, and he gave it to me in the interest of fairness. People who stay true to their teachings are always great, provided that their teachings are moral. People who stay true to their teachings are always great, sweet. I can do that. Provided that their teachings are moral. Damn it. There's always a catch, isn't there? In my first year of high school, my class decided to play a simple prank on our English SOS teacher, by all laughing when he faced the board, and then stopping every time he turned around to face us. After a few minutes of this, he just left the classroom without a word. We all sat there, confused, until a few minutes later the assistant principal comes in and explains that we've really upset our teacher. He made us believe we'd seriously ducked up. Then our teacher walked in and pretty much went gotcha. That son of a bitch had our respect from then on. My high school science teacher paused class to rip a student apart for bullying another student. Called it out as soon as it happened, in front of everyone, and that bully never went near that other kid again. We'll always remember that. A math teacher went to the hospital several times to visit a student who had been seriously injured in an accident. The teacher offered companionship, free tutoring, and genuine encouragement. Math teacher, I don't care if you have good grades or bad grades, if you work hard, I will work harder to make you pass. He worked hard for me, I passed. I had a sociology professor who gave us a do not fail checklist. Complete and you were guaranteed to pass. I also had a high school chem teacher who bet us all $100 that if we passed his class we would pass our first college chem class. He was just really awesome all around. He told stories about traveling the world over breaks, got absurdly off topic to teach us random stuff, had a physics lab where we got to throw eggs at him, and occasionally we had a class where absolutely nothing got done because we were having a discussion. He used to give out quarters for correcting him, or for anything done really well. He put up posters about his trips and gave us extra credit quizzes about them because he said being observant was really important in chemistry. Actually, there were a few really weird activities in that class. I will never forget the time he ate chalk to prove to us that it was the same stuff as in milk. He was brilliant, hilarious, and just a really incredible human being. Edit, typo. Ever find out if he had to pay anyone $100? He told us the story of the one time he did. The student got a college professor who didn't speak very good English or had a really strong accent or something, I don't recall exactly, but my teacher found out they failed and sent them the $100. Then they sent it back, saying that everybody failed that class. What an absolute G. It's really nice knowing people like this exist in real life. Told us a joke about his name, before we could, and allowed us to eat during his classes because kids your age can't help being hungry all the time, as long as we did it quietly. Great guy. His whole attitude made all of us actually pay attention and do our best. English teacher in high school asked where my homework was. Responded I forgot to do it, and he said to the rest of the class, why can't you guys be like Scratched Hat? He doesn't come up with some excuse, he just tells me he didn't do it. Lol, I would always tell my teachers, I didn't finish it sounds a bit better than I didn't do it. Let me see what you did and I'll give you credit. Duck. Ah, I see you found the flaw to my almost perfect scheme. I mean, you never said you started it. I didn't finish it, let's see how far you got, nor did I start it. I moved out of home during high school. It was stressful, to say the least. I started to fall behind in assignments, I would be absent for days at a time, I missed tests, etc. I ended up explaining the bare minimum of my situation to my English teacher, and their response always stuck with me. Just do what you can. It may not seem like much, but right then and there, for a 16-year-old kid who felt like simply living was a burden. It was everything. When I was a kid we had to purchase these red punch cards to get lunch at school. Unfortunately we didn't have that much money, so there were times where my punch card would run out, and I wasn't able to eat for a while until we got enough money to repurchase another one. Why nobody in my family applied for assistance was beyond me. I had one teacher who noticed I wasn't eating every day, and she would bring an extra sandwich and offer it to me whenever she saw that. I really didn't understand how kind that was when I was a kid, but obviously as an adult that was such an amazing gesture of kindness. In middle school I went through something similar. Would just go to my social studies class instead of the cafeteria for lunch. BC I never had food. Teacher started leaving a few dollars on my desk and would let me get lunch and eat with her. I ate with her most of my 8th grade year, and I'd always bring her money that I got, like for day holiday, to try to pay her back. She'd just put it in her drawer and give it back to me later. I remember that to this day, and I try to make sure I have change in ones on me at all times for any of my students who need it, as well as keeping my bottom drawer stocked with snacks. My students always know they can count on me for food if they are hungry. I had a principal in a new school I hadn't met yet because the first day of school at my new high school was my dad's funeral. He had no idea what I looked like, but he sought me out in the really crowded hallways and gave me a hug and his condolences. Never felt creepy, only cared about. He went on to local politics and became our mayor. Only time I have truly voted for the best person for the job and not the least objectionable. Edited to add wow. Thanks for the upvotes. I've never had a comment blow up like this. Mr. Peary, if you see this, you earned my instant respect and kept it with your further actions. We need more like you. Your principal is good man. He go heaven. Principal to the moon. We like this mayor. Apes together strong. Join monkey. If he is hugging, then I'm hugging. I had a physical education teacher who organized basketball, volleyball, handball and football tournaments, organized Olympic games for the local kids, and taught us dancing on weekends. On his own. Just for us kids, because we lived in a remote place without many activities and things going on. He was more than a simple teacher. I feel like this is the main reason that a lot of teachers in rural areas don't get credit for the amount of work they do outside of the classroom. Up here in Montana, many teachers have been known to actively go out of their way to help the kids, for the kids' benefit, whether it be coaching, tutoring, helping out in general, etc. I know many teachers everywhere do this, but after moving up here, living up here 10 plus years and seeing how much a rural community comes together to showcase the teachers, it made me gain a better appreciation overall. I sincerely wish teachers get more credit because there are some out there that just make that impact on someone, and I enjoy reading about it. It makes me appreciate several of my past teachers from high school and college immensely more than I once did. Junior year of high school, English class. We were discussing a story we had read. One student, let's call him Carl, made a point. The teacher was dismissive and basically said Carl was wrong. The next day, after we took our seats, the teacher said, "Before we begin, I was thinking about what Carl said yesterday. I was wrong to dismiss it so quickly. Let's take a look at that again." He then went on to repeat Carl's point and initiate a conversation with the entire class. After the conversation, it became apparent Carl's point was indeed off base, but I was impressed the teacher publicly owned his mistake and went down the path he should have. I remember my first math class in college. I didn't take any math my senior year of high school because I finished my math requirements my junior year. Anyway, the first math test hit me like a truck after never having to try in high school, and I scored in the low 60s. The next 3 tests, I learned to study and got 398s in a row. The last week of class, the professor, who was a hard ass by the way and would kick you out for having your phone out, called me up to her desk after class and said clearly, "You were having a bad day that first exam, so don't worry about that grade because I won't count it." It really changed my view of that professor. I had an English teacher back in high school that offered a mercy to everyone in the class. You could drop one assignment or test for the year. As someone who has blacked out when doing a speech 2 years before, I just told her to remove me from the speech list. That is honestly a really good teaching method. Mitigates stress and doesn't ruin your grade if you have a bad day. In my math class there are 3 tests and a final. Each one is 20% of the grade. If the score on the final, which is cumulative, is better than the grade on one of the exams, the final grade replaces that exam.